there was likely an actual ancient Tower of Babel, but it's not the source of the world's languages, and the story in the Bible has a lot more to do with your iPhone than an ancient tower. Hi, I'm Jeremy. I'm a deep skeptic, also a pastor. I know you expected me to say that the Tower of Babel didn't exist, and in the strict literal biblical sense of that exact thing happening, yes, it didn't. But scholars think that the Tower of Babel story was actually based on a real Babylonian ziggurat called Etzmenanke, and that ziggurat was being built at the same time that this story seems to have been coming together. And that story of that ziggurat was really interesting. So the story of that tower is really interesting because it was impressive and it kept being destroyed, right? It was an impressive thing, so when a conquering army would come through, they would want to destroy it. And so it actually sat uncompleted for like a century because it kept being rebuilt, burning down, falling over, then sinking into the swamp, right? And so during that time, when this story was created, it's sort of, laughing at, making fun of the Babylonians at the time and how they couldn't complete this tower. But what about the languages? It seems like the story is about the languages. It's actually not about the languages. And, we can trace origins of different languages and they don't all trace back to one moment in one tower and any of that. So that part is not accurate. But that part is actually a feature of a story that's trying to give a bigger message. And the bigger message is that humanity at this point was trying to make a name for itself, trying to make itself like God. And there's a moment of humor in this because the people think this tower is like really big, and God, it says, has to come down from heaven with the idea, it's implying that it's so small from God's point of view that God can't even see it. It's not reaching where God is. God has to come down and see this small, tiny little thing. And but the idea is that the people are trying to make a name for themselves. They're trying to sort of escape the bounds of humanity using their own technology. Has anybody ever heard anything like that? That's what we do over and over again with technology. We try to extend beyond our own capacities, our own limitations as human. And I'll be honest, I lived in Silicon Valley. I've drank that Kool-Aid, and it's attractive. It's really tasty Kool-Aid. But the reality is, as much as we want that to be true, eventually we all die. Eventually it all comes to an end, and nothing in our technology can stop that from happening. We can increase our learning. We can increase all kinds of good and bad in the world through technology. And ultimately, we end up with the same final result. So when God scatters all the people, creates languages, yes, in part in the ancient world, it was trying to explain how all the languages got here. But ultimately, the bigger message of the story, the bigger truth is when God does that, when God scatters all of the people, God is saying, look, you can't be God. No matter how hard you try, no matter how much technology you can have and create, you can't be God. And that's true. We're mortals, and this mortal life is finite. And so because of that, because we can't be God, we should focus on being human, being the best humans we can be, being here for each other, extending more grace and love and mercy. That's the thing that can make a real difference in the world, in our lives, in the lives of the people that we love.